welcome back to Belmont Bunch. Today we are going to, for our 100th video, we are going to go over the Islanders season and just kind of talk about what it was like, how this season that was an entire year long went. Hot takes on the season. Regular season starting, and then we did the playoffs.
We won the trade deadline.
Yes.
We won the trade deadline more than any other team. And also, we basically restored respect to an entire franchise.
Hopefully. Because you always see those articles like, oh, it's just a fluke. It's just like, it won't happen next season. But I mean, we've had two solid seasons in a row.
Yeah, so two very good seasons.
Yeah, so I think we have a very good shot of at least getting far in the playoffs next year. Hopefully.
Yeah, and hitting their furthest part of the race since 1993.
93.
And passing that. So basically, it was our most successful season since 1984.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, Stanley Cup, here we come. Look out. Okay, so let's go over the ups and downs of the season. So, the beginning of the season was kind of a rocky start. Was the first 5 games or more than that?
Yeah, it was 5. I think we started something like 2-2-1, and it was very our offense stalled against Washington really early on because we only had 1 goal in that game, and it was a Devontae's deflection off 3 capital skates and whatever. And it was, you know what it was? I think it was just a learning curve of because it's the first time, last year, people didn't think they would be good, and then the Isles were good. Now you were going into a new year with a target on your back because everybody knew, that you upended a lot of people last year.
Yeah, that's true. So, all right, so we had that rocky start, and then we had the 10-game winning streak, which was the franchise record is 12, I think?
I think so. We had talked about during that streak, before that streak and then during it, that we weren't playing our best hockey.
That's true,
we had a couple of those games. We had a shootout win also.
Yeah, that's right.
We had a couple of those games where we didn't play that well, and it was just, I think I even said, temper your expectations. This is great, you're getting the results, but eventually we're going to have games like this where we don't get the results.
Yes.
And so it all kind of evens up at the end of the day because you'll have games where the team's going to play fantastic. I went to a game against the Blackhawks last year, and we outshot them 50-21, but we won 3-2 in overtime because their goalie was just incredible.
Yeah.
And there's going to be games like that. Sometimes a goalie or a player on the other team just steals the game.
Yeah.
And other times your guys steal the game. The Blues, we were down 2-0 with 5 minutes left. We scored twice and won.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we had some games that we stole during that stretch. It was still amazing, but and it was a great run, and you have to enjoy it as a fan. But I think the team probably knew it wasn't all there because they had a couple of lucky ones here and there.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's true. And then because it was 10-game winning streak. Then we lost finally in overtime, so it was still the point streak as everybody started referring to it. Continued on. We lost to the Penguins in overtime.
Yeah, I was there. We were up 3-0.
Yeah,
we scored a minute in. And it felt like we were just running them out of the building, and then little by little they just chipped away, and we lost in OT. At least we got it to OT. I remember they tied it with a lot of time left in the third, and I'm like, we're going to lose this in regulation. And we managed not to do that at least, but yeah.
Yeah, and then we ended up beating them, again, within the same point streak twice.
Yeah.
After that. We were
Brock Nelson, 2 straight overtime goals against them. 1 home,
really?
one away, 1 home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. But we were at a bar with a bunch of friends one time, and that's when they came back.
That was the Philly game.
Oh, I thought that was Pittsburgh.
Because we were down 3-0 in that one. That's another one of the high points of the season.
Yeah.
Down 3-0 in the third. Score 3 goals, win in the shootout.
Are you sure that was Philly?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn that was Pittsburgh. So, shows you what I know. So, but that obviously all good things have to come to an end. And then after that, we played 500 hockey.
Yeah, and Adam Pellich was the big part of it because we lost Pellich. I was at the Devils game. And I just checked Twitter before the game to see what the lineup was going to be, and I saw Pellich out, and then I started hearing freak injury. He got hurt, not even during skating warm-ups, before that. And
you speculate that it was probably when they were juggling the soccer ball.
Yeah. So my idea was, he tore his ACL, and
I thought it was his Achilles. Pellich.
He tore something.
I'm almost sure it was the Achilles.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm not as sure as you are.
I am so sure, and I'm also sure that it was Pittsburgh that we were playing against.
No. We came back. We were at the bar. Philly was up 3-0 when we came back. We beat them in the shootout because we did that twice against Philly this year.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at
The
all.
second one we won in regulation. Oh, no. We were up 3-0 on Philly the second time and blew it, but then won it. The first time they were up 3-0 and blew it, and we won it. So we won both. We actually beat up Philly this year in the regular season. We also beat them like 5-1 in a game, too. So maybe it wasn't that surprising that we
Achilles, yeah.
beat them in the playoffs.
So Pellick was the Achilles, attended prior to the team's game on January 2nd against the Devils. So
they struggled without him mightily, and they went into the break losing 7 in a row. Not all in regulation, but they were struggling. I think because the last game before the pause was against Vancouver, and we lost in a shootout where Andrew Ladd took one of the penalty shots, and he missed the net altogether.
And that was his first game back in like how many games?
That was a while.
Yeah.
And that was our first. It looked like it was going to be our last attempt on goal of the season.
Yeah.
Because it looked like the season just wasn't going to happen after that.
Yeah.
We got very lucky, obviously, with the bubble working as well as it did. Yeah. Obviously, with news today that the NFL has a ton of cases, we have to be pretty happy with how hockey went.
Because how many injuries did we have going, like, as the season kind of came to an end, the regular season? It was Pellick,
Clutterbuck, Cizikas, who else in that lineup was hurt? I don't think the top 6 was pretty healthy. No, I think they were rotating out defensemen a lot because we were trying to get our game back. And without Pellich, Dobson had to play a lot more.
Yep.
And we were looking for a defenseman at the trade deadline.
Yes, and so that brings us to, let's talk about some people. Mr. Lou Lamoriello.
Yeah, so Lou...
Everybody hated Lou until the day after the trade deadline.
So I'm gonna justify it for a sec, but I'm also gonna kiss Lou's shiny head at the same time. So I think everybody was worried and a little bit vitriolic towards Lou because Lou... let's take Lou out of it. The Islanders... As a fan base and as an organization, are used to not getting what they want at the deadline.
100%.
We've had trade deadline acquisitions of like basically no value for a while, and so I think because Lou operates in the shadows and it took so long for a deal to get done, we started to believe nothing was going to happen. Yeah. And I think that's where people were frustrated. And then lo and behold. I was at the Islanders Sharks game right before the trade deadline.
You were in the box, right?
Yeah, we had a box for that game, and we actually saw Lou, and I actually saw Adam Pellich in the bathroom. Sup, Adam? I saw Adam Pellich with his walking boot in the bathroom. So anyway, we saw Lou, and he was on the phone in his booth as well, probably the owner's booth or something, Yeah, so I guess he was working on a trade for Pajot. That comes through, and Andy Green. No, Andy Green was already through at that point, right? Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes. Yeah. It was a little bit earlier.
Green came through, which Green was... I remember a lot of people on Twitter were so angry. Like, they were happy that Green came through, but they were angry whenever the defense... Because our defense was kind of sucking, late into the regular season. So like, people are like, why the hell was Green the best Islander on the ice tonight? You know what I mean? He's the oldest and, like, a brand new team member, No,
you're right. He had a couple of really...
But he was great, but it was frustrating that he was he was outshining everybody because our defensemen are really good. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was, like, the discount Pellich for us for a tiny bit there. Because he had a couple games there where he blocked a ton of shots and got a couple of assists before the pause.
That also kind of screwed us a little... Not in a bad way, but in the playoffs, he had a lot of stupid penalties, like high sticking and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he had 2 goals, and you would never think he would score 2 goals for you.
That is true. He overall was a net positive by far.
Yes.
But just in the playoffs at the end, it was weird, Maybe he just wanted to go home.
You know what I think a piece of it was? Probably at that point, exhaustion. Because the penalties that you take... well, actually, some of that's bad luck, because a lot of it was high sticking. Yeah. And that's more... you
don't know who's around.
Yeah. Like, I was going to say, if he was getting, hookings and, holding penalties, then that shows guys are getting around him and he's, not keeping up with them. But that wasn't the case, which is good.
That's true. Yeah.
Because we, between him and Boychuk, those guys are, I believe, 80 years old if you add them there. Close to 80 years old if you add them together. So
that's not so bad, Anyway, okay, so we got Green. That everybody was pretty happy with that, but everybody didn't think too much of it. It turned out being a huge win for the season.
Yeah.
At least I say everybody, but like I didn't think it. Twitter didn't seem like they thought too much of it.
Even I wouldn't have thought. I thought it was a good depth piece, but he ended up playing in the playoffs over Boychuk.
Yeah, and then obviously everybody was like, "Is this really all you got, Lou? You're only going to give us Green?" And then finally. On the day of the trade deadline, we got Peugeot from the Senators for a pretty good deal, if you ask me.
Yeah, at the time, it looked hefty because there was a first and a third involved, and we had already given the second away for Green. So, we'll talk about that in our off-season video of why not having the first 2 round picks could be an issue in trying to offload some bad contracts. But keeping to this for now. In the end, the Islanders made it worth it because our first round pick decreased in value every playoff game we won. Because our pick is the 29th or 28th overall pick now. Right. And so we basically just gave away a high second round pick, actually. Yeah. So it's basically like giving away 2 second round picks. The third was if we got to the Cup, which almost happened. Yeah. Which is funny because I remember, I don't remember which YouTube channel it was. It might have been Steve Dangle. Might have been his podcast. Don't hold me to that. I'm not sure if it was. But one of the channels was like, the Islanders gave up a first and a third, but the third is only if they win the Cup. So they gave up a first. And he was like joking that they have no shot at doing that. But, I mean...
We got pretty freaking close.
Whoever's channel that was, I know we went further than their team.
Yeah, right?
Unless they were a Tampa fan. I'm pretty sure they weren't, and Dallas, but no.
Yeah, Tampa or Dallas.
And the Peugeot fits so well.
Perfectly. Like he's just not. He just seems like a fun guy. Like everybody, he seems to fit the chemistry of the team and the system. I mean, we needed the center. We needed like the third line center. So
he had a great playoff run. And what I'm excited for is a full season out of Peugeot because he's shown a lot of chemistry with this roster. And also, if you look at our forward lines that are, if you could see them there, I don't know. It's basically like adding another top 6 forward. Which has been a thing that we've been hoping for. And, you talked about before we did the video that Bailey had a great playoffs. But in the regular season, sometimes he can go missing for a little while.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And when that happens, it's good to have a guy like Peugeot that maybe can move up the lineup if they have to. Because Peugeot's on the third line right now. But I'm sure if there were a 7-game losing streak
for sure.
At some point, Peugeot would boost up that lineup, and I think it adds a lot more malleability to play with that lineup.
Yeah, especially since Trotz does switch around the lines in the middle of games.
Clutterbuck was playing on the first line in the elimination games, and it worked for a game.
It did, yeah.
So first of all, also always trust Barry. Barry just seems to just have this team. Yeah, we
should get hats and ATB.
Nobody will get it.
No, yeah.
But Barry has such a good concept of when to play a guy and when not to, and who to play them with, that I basically don't even question. Well, I did in some of the videos.
Oh, yeah.
But I shouldn't question the lineup decisions pretty much at all ever again.
Yeah. So speaking of Bailey though, so throughout the regular season, I was saying before we were filming, he was streaky, but he was never a detriment. He was sometimes just kind of invisible.
Yeah.
But sometimes then he would make the best play of the game, So, and then in the playoffs, he was, was doing great.
Fantastic.
So overall, Bailey, I don't know why. I don't think anybody should be shitting on him.
There always will be.
Yeah.
There's a stigma with him because he was such a high draft pick, and it took him a while to really come into his own. So I think that was part of it. I would say the only time you look at Bailey and you're like, is when he's not got everything going, he doesn't shoot a lot, and he'll pass when you are shoot that. And,
exactly.
But that's it. And that.
And then you laugh at the goalie thinking that Bailey's actually going to shoot.
Yeah.
So he's then
the goalie should just be facing the other way for the pass.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, Bailey. I've been thinking of who I'm going to get on the back of this jersey if I might do that, and Bailey's up there.
All right.
So it's a real possibility.
Pretty cool. All right, so Beauvillier.
Yes.
All right, your Islander crush. Your Islander crush of the team. He was. I'm trying to remember now during the regular season. I feel it was so long ago.
I don't fault you. Full calendar year it started.
Yeah, exactly.
But Beauvillier in the regular season played pretty well. But the playoffs, he hit a level that I'm really excited for next year, which is in the qualifiers. He was on fire against Florida, and kept that going into the
Caps
series, and a little bit into the Flyers series. And to be fair to him, for the Lightning series, nobody had a great series against the Lightning.
Yeah,
but that's all.
The Lightning had a great series against us.
Well, here's what I'll say is, that is not an indictment of any of our players. That is kudos to the Lightning,
absolutely,
as they were able to neutralize Barzal really badly. But that's going to happen in a playoff series. Your top player, they're going to target, so you need contributions from the other guys, and Bo not being able to get much going in that series, and Nelson missing a breakaway.
Nelson getting beat into a pulp in that series.
Yeah,
but
in that series, the bottom six kept us in it. And that's a good segue into the fourth line.
So let's talk about the fourth line.
Going into the playoffs, at least this was my opinion, and I think it was shared mostly in the community, but not by everybody. It looked to me that the fourth line hadn't gotten anything going in a while. Martin, to me, looked like done, because his physical play kind of ceased towards the middle to back half of the season. And I was worried that, not worried, but I was like, maybe Johnston. Johnston's younger, and I was starting to think that Martin was just worn down. Because that's what happens when you're such a physical player. You wear down quicker. And Johnston is younger, and he's got the fighting edge, too. So I was thinking throw him in. But, man, did Martin come out and play an amazing playoff in a contract year, of course.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he scored five goals in the playoffs.
That means that he scored, 5 more than
John Tavares? Yeah, no, that's true. But Martin was really, really good, and I think going into the playoffs, Martin was probably looked at as, we knew the cap would be screwed, so we were like, there's no way we're going to bring him back. And now, with how well he played and how well the fourth line played as a group, I think he's definitely being considered, because Lou's already had his end of season meetings with the media and said that he'd like to bring back. He loves everybody on the team. He basically said he'd like to have everybody. The only thing he pointed out was the goaltending situation is pretty obvious, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So the fourth line. Anybody else on the fourth line we should talk about? So
Clutter stepped up in the playoffs, 100%, big time.
Yeah. Mostly with physical play. Though.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Cizikas, he was actually
He's less physical than the other two guys, so I think at times it can go. It can be less visible on the ice of what he's doing, but he's such a good penalty killer. He's very, very fast. Because there's the three, sometimes when you don't see the front half of the jersey, and I think it's Barzal skating because he's so fast, and then it turns out to be Cizikas, and you're like, oh, he's pretty fast. But he's going to have eye surgery in the offseason, and he had a detached retina. And I am worried because it's a similar thing that happened to Kyle Oposo, and his career fell off after that. And we have, I think Casey signed for another year, and I just really hope he takes it really easy in the offseason, and we have him back by the start of the season, because I don't really, I have Cole Bardreau looked good in the slight bit that he played, but our center depth is really good, but I don't know if there's anybody in the minors immediately suited to play that fourth line role, unless Komarov drops down to it. Which is possible.
Oh, actually, I didn't think of that. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because he was also pretty good in the playoffs, too.
Yeah, he had a goal.
Yeah.
It was a big goal against the Flyers.
And I'm trying to think, was he penalty killing? Because he was in the box a few times in the playoffs,
too. That's the thing with Leo is...
he was specifically brought in to penalty kill, and then he got in the box a few times, which was...
I think he is, and again, we'll talk about it at my little off-season video, but... I do think the Islanders, if they can get rid of his contract, would be fully willing to. He's making $3 million.
Oh, let's talk about Nelson.
Sure. So
Nelson probably weirdly appropriately rated. Nobody thinks that he's bad by any stretch.
I do know people that think he's bad.
What?
But
it's weird because he doesn't have the star power of Barzal. You know what I mean? But he's so freaking good.
He was our leading goal scorer this year with 25. And, this is why the Islanders would maybe like to add another goal scorer in the offseason, because, I'd like to have a goal scorer that can routinely touch 30 so that we're a lot more sound in the offensive department. But Brock has an amazing wrist shot. When he's open in the slot, he was against the Lightning twice in that series, and he wristed both home, and against the Flyers. His breakaways leave something to be desired, as he left a few on the table, but he has such a good wrist shot. He's just a very consistent two-way player, and he fits exactly what I want out of a second-line center. So I'm very, very happy with him. Despite I've gotten over the breakaway miss against the Lightning.
Yeah.
And as a whole, he played a really good playoffs.
But I mean, who's the best breakaway player then? 'Cause I mean, like realistically, of course Barzal's had a few throughout the season and stuff like that worked out, but plenty that didn't. So
yeah,
that's why
Well, that's probably where we're looking for more of a pure goal scorer, because I don't think you have that guy right off the top of your head. You're like, that's the guy that you have.
Like you would be scared of getting a hold of the puck. Yeah. We'd like to thank this week's sponsor, Loot Crate.
Nerd Crate.
Nerd. Okay, so let's talk about depth.
Okay.
Let's talk about some depth.
Yep.
Okay, on the forwards.
Okay. Broussard was really hot to start the year. He was on part of the Killer Bees line, which turned into another version of the Bees line, because it was just... So, in the playoffs, it was Brock, Bo, Bailey.
Yeah.
Early in the season, with Bo playing further down the lineup, it was Brock, Brass, Bailey. Or I think Bo was part of that, too. Sometimes Bailey would drop down and Bo would. But anyway, Broussard... early in the season looked really, really good. It was a lot like when we brought in Filppula last year, a guy that just third line adds points when possible, can move up to the top 6 if somebody's hurt. And I actually think he was good enough in the playoffs to get he'll get a contract. I just don't know if it's with us, just with the money situation. Yeah, which is it's tough, but we have some prospects. Wahlstrom is playing really well in Europe right now, though he didn't do much at the NHL level last year. But he was playing with us mostly during stretches where we weren't playing well. So, and he was playing with line mates that hopefully he won't be playing with this time around. And Bellows came up, shot the puck in a stretch of games where we were not shooting the puck, got 2 goals against the Kings, helped us win that game. I'm excited for him. And just like the MDC, Johnston, Ladd, Kuhnhackl group, were good plug-in plays, but I would like to see the lineup get a little bit younger next year. I think MDC, Michael Dowkle, might have to go to the minors because, Wahlstrom and Bellows, I think, should get a shot. And Joshua Hosang, who did not play at all with us this year. We didn't even play him on our minor league team. We loaned him to another minor league team. I didn't even know you could do that. So he was in another team's organization while still being part of our organization, which is interesting. Personally, I'm going to go on record as wanting to see Hosang get another shot because he brings the high level of playmaking ability that we would like to see in the lineup. We've talked a lot about wanting to improve offense. That's the main takeaway of this year. Even though in the playoffs it was pretty good, but we want a little bit more reliable scoring.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
The tough thing is people could point to Hosang is not that scoring. He's the guy that sets it up. Dude, and we do have a lot of guys that set it up.
We're just going to have a team that just passes it more than they do now in front of the net. So whatever. No, that's obviously not true. Because anybody that's good on offense, I'm sure they could get if you could have the precision to pass it, you should. I'm sure it's not that hard to get to the precision of shooting. You know what I mean?
You'd be surprised. Well, because you'd be shocked at the incredibly high level that the league's best shooters are at. Compared to guys that just have okay shots. There's a surprisingly...
So you're saying the step up from the playmaker to the sniper is
I think it's harder than you think because obviously you look at... You watch all the games. You watch a lot of the games this year and you see guys like Bailey who are known for passing occasionally just snipe one. And I think it makes it look a lot easier than it is. But...
because
we want somebody that can routinely bring that level of shot, like a Brock-type shot on the wing playing with Barzal. Yeah. Basically, in a tough way, I'm kind of picking on Eberle needs to step it up or he's going to get replaced.
So why, who decided that he was a sniper?
NHL 20, no. He used to be a big goal scorer, but it's funny because his time with the Islanders has kind of transformed him more into a playmaker in a way, and on the first line we need a sniper because Lee is the guy that will get in front of the net and tip stuff in and get in the face of the goalie, and that's necessary.
Yeah,
I know people don't like it because it's not good looking. Though his chin
That's
is.
my captain.
Yeah, but I think it's a necessary part of the game is if the goalie, like we ran into a goalie in the playoffs that everything he saw he stopped.
Oh
and
my God! Yeah.
What you need to do when that happens is you take away his eyes, you have a guy like Lee do that. But we need somebody that has that Brock shot on the first line because you can't take Brock off the second line at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
He's too important, but. We got away from depth a little bit, but Cole Bardreau had a really nice, 10-game stretch, I think, with us. He scored a penalty shot as his first career goal, which is extremely rare.
Yeah.
And he looked like he fit. And the good thing about this Islander team is it's a big plug-and-play system where I think we're comfortable plugging guys in to the lineup, and because of how good a coach Barry is, he can shape them into what they need to be, even if it's just for a little bit, like Bardreau was.
Yeah, talking about defense, the two players we highlighted that we want to talk about are Pelech and Mayfield.
Yeah.
So,
you wanted to highlight Mayfield.
Yeah, the one thing I want to say about Mayfield is that, like, if you go back to any of Tom's videos in the regular season, he's like, "Why are you committing penalties late in the third?" You know, and it's like it was. You could almost bet on how consistent Mayfield would make a penalty with only a few minutes left in the third, and then we would end up having to go to overtime because the other team scored it, or we would lose, whatever. And like you said, like going into at the end of the season, right before the pause, like we had 7 games that we lost in a row.
Yeah.
And like I don't remember off the top of my head, but I wouldn't be surprised if a few of those were because of Mayfield. And but then in the playoffs he turned that around. Like, I don't think did he commit any penalties?
He might have, like here and there.
Serious.
I think one of them might have been a delay of game, and that's one of those that's.
It's kind of hard because
I think that he might have been the one that like smacked it out of the air, and I actually think that rule should be revisited in the offseason because like it's one thing if you shoot it out while you're just skating with it, but if you knock a puck out of the air and it goes out of play,
it's hard to control.
It's hard to say there was intent to knock it out of play and stop a game, and thus there should be a penalty. But there's some stuff we talked about Vasilevsky's pad getting loose and the refs not whistling that. I think there's some stuff that happened in the playoffs that should be looked at as rule changers because Vasilevsky only would have gotten the stoppage if his helmet came off, but. Like
realistically, you could break your leg with a puck.
Absolutely.
No, maybe not, but whatever. Like, get seriously injured.
Fortunately, on that play, Clutterbuck shot it high, and it went in off the crossbar, and so he didn't get hurt, and we're happy about that.
Yeah.
But I think the NHL should maybe look at that.
Yeah, but overall, the story arc for Mayfield is that he became a person that was a detriment to the team at the end of the regular season to being like, back to regular, really great defenseman.
Yeah.
And just stopped committing penalties. So, but then Pelech, what happened with Pelech?
I think just look at the Islanders with Pelech and without him. And with him, they were one of the best teams in the league early on. And without him, they really struggled. So it shows that people probably have to pay attention to this guy now because he's a linchpin on this team.
Yeah.
Because, Green came in and Green did the best he could playing on that left side. But Pelech, it should say something mighty big about Pelech that he made that big a difference. That the team was like amazing to like we're not going to make the playoffs.
And then the very last thing we're going to touch on, and then maybe there was some closing thoughts or whatever. The goalies.
Yeah.
So everybody was kind of about Varley in the beginning of the season. Like he was good.
Yeah.
But like Greiss
we were coming off of Leonard.
Yes,
too.
And Greiss was the number 1 goalie for the first, like, maybe 20 games. Not that far in the season.
Well, they alternated starts for, like, the first 20 games.
Yeah, but Greiss was literally the number 1 goalie. Leonard was number 2 in the very beginning of the season. And then, they alternated up to game, like, up into somewhere in the 30s, right? Or 40s.
They alternated starts for a long time. Set a new NHL record.
No, it was a franchise record. I don't think
Okay. Set a new franchise record for alternating starts to start the year. And when the Islanders won those cups in the 80s, they had a tandem like that. And having a tandem, a comfortable tandem again, was pretty great. Look in the playoffs. We needed Greiss. If we didn't have a backup we could depend on, we would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
Although, like, I remember because we started Greiss in Game 7 of the Philly series. But, like, I even said, like, Varley would have won that game too. We just played an excellent game.
Yeah.
So sometimes it was the guys in front of them that needed to be better. Grice, you know, it looks like this is the end of his Islander career, and he has been really, really great for us. So I hope he gets a nice payday, like Leonard did today. Leonard got a long-term deal. But Varley had his struggles, but man, every once in a while he would just have an unreal game. Vegas comes to mind. He made like 45 saves in a game we had no business being in. We lost like 1-0, and he made the save of the year in that game, where he made a diving stick save.
I was thinking he made
that was the Boston one with the glove.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
So he can just go off like that. I don't think to the same level that Leonard was able to with us. Yeah. Because Leonard is like a lot more position. It's like positional.
He's a bigger guy too.
Yeah, and so he just takes up more of the net, and that's why I think there's less dramatic moves with Leonard, because he just positionally is on his game and he's big enough that he can keep it in front of him. Varley's not as big, and I think for him at points we saw he had issues with like some shots going right past his ear in the playoffs a couple of times. Early
like,
on.
Did they hit his helmet?
No, like in that area between the shoulder and the top of the crossbar. And that was more like I was just wanting to see him do a better job of getting his eyes out from behind. The other team would set a screen. Yeah. And I'd be like, there was one where the Capitals set a screen and Varley just stared into the guy's back and they shot it over his shoulder. And I'm like, you got to work to like get around that screen. But Leonard would just like slash that guy out of the way because Leonard is a big guy. Yeah. And Leonard's been in a fight before on the ice.
That's awesome.
So not a lot of goalies fighting anymore. Yeah. Especially Islander goalies after Rick DiPietro broke his jaw. But I think we...
One of my favorite things though about Varley is like seems like a pretty stoic guy, but like everybody lost their mind when he did that like diving slide into like all the other players after they won.
To a shooting
was that the second game they won against Tampa?
Game 5 that kept us going.
Yeah, and so it's just funny. It's almost like everybody. I think that just showed like everybody really does like Varley a lot.
Oh, I think everybody on the team likes everybody on the team.
Oh no, I didn't even mean the players. I mean the fans. Like the fans, like everybody rallied around it. Like Varley was like a superstar for like a day and a half, until the next game, which is awesome. And so like I think I'm happy that he's going to be on the team, and I think he's going to be probably like we'll see how Sorokin plays. I was going to say Strachurkin.
That's the Rangers.
I know. So he'll probably, who knows who will end up being first, because it sounds like Sorokin will be elite.
Varley will get the first shot as the starter, and it will depend. It could be a Holtby situation with Samsonov last year, where halfway through the year Holtby lost the job, but then the only reason he started against the Islanders was the other goalie got hurt. So that's a possibility. Injuries are going to play into it, but we shall see. We have not like goalie depth in the minors. We have 3 guys that we might have to re-sign. So, I mean, just in case there's an injury or something, because you want Sorokin to be able to have that rock that they can turn to, so that he doesn't have to start a ton of games. Yeah. Although he is an older prospect, he's basically.
What is he, 25?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of prospects usually come up earlier, but he's been playing professionally in Russia in what is the second best hockey league in the world. So, like, he's been playing real competition. It's not like he's been playing in, like, the second division of one of the European countries. So, he should be ready to go as, like, a 1B option right away. Like, similar to the Grice role, hopefully, of where he can start, 30 games? 30, 35 games.
I mean, we'll have
if he's really good, it could be 40.
So to close out the video, we're going to talk about our favorite moments of the year, of the season, regular season and postseason. Comment below what some of yours were. Tom, why don't you start?
Yeah, so you mentioned Pajot's little like fake punch in the playoffs, and he did something like that in one of his first games with the Islanders. It might have been his exact first game against the Rangers when he scored in that game. A really fluky goal, but it's the one that hit the boards and landed in his hand. And
it looked like he threw it in the net almost. Yeah.
But in that game, Michael Dalcol got lit up. Oh my lord. Yeah. And Pajot, first game with his new team, immediately gets in a fight. Yeah. And that shows he's committed.
100%.
Like he is in the brotherhood. Requiescat in pace. That's from
Assassin's Creed.
Rest in Peace, in Italian.
Wow. I vaguely remember that. Anyway, That was an awesome. It was like kind of like one of those moments where it sucked.
It was like an initiation.
Yeah, exactly. It really was because, and everybody was. That was also kind of seemed like a bad call because it seemed like a high hit on.
Yeah,
on Balcol, and he was bleeding afterwards, and then it wasn't called. I don't know. It's a close call, I guess. But then Pajot thought it was a high hit, so he came in.
And it was. I think it's more just even if there wasn't going to be a penalty, or even if there was going to be a penalty, you would just want to defend your teammate's honor.
100%. Yeah.
Samurai code.
Yeah. My favorite moment in the regular season was anytime Johnston got into a fight.
There you go.
That was great.
The shimmy.
The shimmy is like, you can count on it every time.
I was at that game. I was laughing really hard. And then he pummeled the guy, and I was like...
Yeah, did he lose any fights this season?
He doesn't lose any fights.
Oh, also, favorite moment of the postseason then was when Martin and Shen got into a fight, like before the puck was even dropped in the Tampa game.
Yeah.
The second game that we won. I think it was it was the first game.
First game we won.
The first game we won. Like they were next to each other, waiting for the puck to drop, and then before it even dropped, they just both dropped the gloves, and yeah, that was great.
It's funny you mentioned Shen.
Why?
Are you sure it was Shen? Because I have a thing about Shen that's kind of funny.
I'm pretty sure it's Shen. I could be wrong.
So I have a nickname for Shen. That came out of this playoffs, and it was in our series against the Lightning. I think it was Brock missed a golden opportunity in front, and then did what players sometimes do when they're really frustrated, like just attack the board with a stick. And Shen tried to fight him after that.
I didn't see that.
And so we call him the protector of the glass now because he got offended on behalf of the glass, and we're just like. What is wrong with you?
I guess if they were in Tampa's stadium, I could kind of understand that.
We're in a neutral site.
I know.
I don't understand the protector of the glass. That's what he is now.
I don't remember seeing that.
And he didn't even. It's not even like Brock said something. And we know Brock can do stupid things sometimes. Last year when he tapped the goalie on the head after we scored a goal, he can do dumb things. But he hit the glass. That happens.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
But because when you said that, I was immediately thinking when Barzal did that in the first game.
Yeah.
And
it happens.
Yeah.
Blake Como for the Dallas Stars broke the glass doing that.
That's
kind of
the night before.
That's delay of game.
Yeah.
But favorite moment of the playoffs for me, it's really tough because it was a great long playoff run and a lot of fantastic moments.
Oh, 100%.
But man, I actually Eberle's goal to keep that Lightning series going was very cool. But might have to go with Brock getting the game winner in Game 3 of the Lightning series. So we got crushed in Game 1.
Yeah.
Game 2 we lose with 8 seconds left. And Brock, as you mentioned earlier, took high sticks, took cross checks to the back of the neck that didn't go called. Really, really dirty play. Well, some dirty and some clean. He just got wrecked.
Yeah.
And he was in the concussion protocol. Game 3, he comes out and scores 2 goals and scores the game winner.
Yeah.
And I was saying early in the game, I was watching it and man.
Oh, you were watching the game? That was surprising. I thought you were a fake Islanders fan and you just kind of watched the highlights.
I was watching it and I was like, man, if Brock can get the game winner, that would feel amazing.
Yeah.
And Beauvillier sets him up with a great pass and Brock wins it. And I guess that was just because I think after Game 1, everybody was like, oh, it's over. The series is over. And then Game 2, we put up a really good fight and we just turned off for the last 30 seconds and it cost us. And Game 3, I was like, please don't go down 3-0. Not even just in terms of we need to get back in the series, but we need to show the hockey world how resilient this team is. And I think they did that. And then that's why Eberle's goal was burned into my mind as well, to keep the series going to Game 6 when he scored the overtime goal to win and Varley does the slide.
Yeah.
And it was I think that cemented a successful year because, if they get swept, if they get swept again, they got swept last year. Even if it's around further, you'll get clowned on. And it was just nice to see them fight back. And probably give the Lightning the best fight they've had in all the playoffs. They won the first 2 rounds in 5. They beat us in 6, and they beat Dallas in 5, in 6.
Oh, it was 6.
But I personally, and this could be biased, but I think we played them better than Dallas did. Dallas looked awful in their elimination game in Game 6, and we were able to keep games within reach after the first game.
And
I think that was a lot of scheduling and our guys jet lagged and exhausted from the last series.
Yeah, that was
and they just
very
put them right
frustrating.
in. I think that was the NHL.
They didn't want the Islanders to win.
No. That's not like this grand
Are
conspiracy.
you telling me?
For one more very good moment, it was the moment that I think I started to think we can make a deep run, which is Capital Series. We're up 2-0, and we're in overtime, and I'm just thinking, man, 3-0 would be beautiful, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I like, because I just tend to think it's not going to be as easy as just beating a team in 5 or 4. And then Matt Barzal goes in on a breakaway and scores and puts us up 3-0, and it just felt like, oh my god, we're up 3-0 on the Caps. Like, I picked us to win that series, but like we were making it way easier.
Yeah, that was definitely one of those series that, I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting it to be
that easy.
I shouldn't say easy, but that kind of quick. You know?
I did see one person pick the Islanders in 5. And it was one of the guys on the Steve Dangle podcast. I think it was Jesse Blake. So credit to Jesse. Good call there.
Yeah.
He thought the Islanders would grind them to a pulp, and he kind of got it exactly right. He said the Islanders would be stingy, and they'd win in 5.
Well, what was your prediction?
I had us in 6.
Wow.
So
do you even know your own team? Jeez. All right, thank you guys for watching. Please leave your comments down below what you thought about the Islanders season, how you think they're going to do next season, all that stuff. And, we're going to love to talk about this more. So thanks for watching.
What?
All right. All right. Hello, and welcome back to Belmont Bunch.
No. Gotta have more gusto. Hello! Like that.